looks like. I have a feeling it might be on the way, tomorrow, possibly. And was it Colin?
Correct.
When James said, I remember you from New Zealand, it was like, shit, did the two of you meet up in North Island or something?
Yeah, probably.
You probably did. I think you would remember him. So just the demographics, just a show of hands if you're from Gloucester, so I know. Are you not sure? Not you, I wasn't looking at you.
Sorry.
Right, just, I know we've spoken about Sarah, you will get your turn, but this isn't a project I need you to manage. So the question to you is, you didn't raise your hand.
I live in Gloucester, I'm not from Gloucester.
Right, okay, that's pretty simple, isn't it? So, you're not
So
from Gloucester.
No, exactly, yeah.
So in fact you were right, and you made me look stupid. So where are you from?
Birmingham.
Okay. But you now live in
Gloucester.
a proper place.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy Gloucester?
Yeah, it's nice.
Do you know much about the history of Gloucester? Not at all. Okay, so you don't know that this whole area here locally was once known as Clapham. Did you know that? This was a slum area back in the day, and I don't know if you know Alvin Street. Do you know what that was named after? Chipmunk. It wasn't at all. That's just rubbish. Because I'm from Gloucester. I lived here all my life, and gigging sort of around the country. When you say to people I'm from Gloucester, when I say Gloucester, what conjures up in your mind? And you normally get the usual: rugby, cathedral, Fred West, and occasionally we get cheese rolling. So have you, as a Brummie, right? Have you been to the cheese rolling ever?
No, but I've seen footage.
You've seen footage, okay?
Yeah.
It's it's just a weird thing. Basically, I mean, we all know what it is. It's an annual event where a load of poor people gather at the top of Cooper's Hill, and they throw a cheese down, and then they chase after the cheese, and if they catch it, they win it, which is great. I've never done it. I'm thinking about doing it next year. I have been practicing all year, rolling a baby bell down my drive. That's been going pretty well. And a couple of years ago, the cheese rolling, I don't know if you can remember when it was banned and then it was reintroduced. And BBC South West came and filmed the event, and one of the winners of one of the races was a 15-year-old girl from Brockworth called Kylie, and they interviewed her, and they said, so Kylie, you're 15, you've entered the race and you've won, what have you got to say? And she said, well, I did enter the race and I have won, and I'm very surprised. And they said, why are you surprised, Kylie? And at that moment I thought, oh Kylie, you're on BBC South West, there's probably millions of people watching, say something really profound, put Gloucester on the map. And what I wanted Kylie to say was something along the lines of, well, like, look at me, I'm from Brockworth, I left school with no O levels, I'm 15, I got 6 kids by 4 different dads, but I never let that stop me. And I thought, Kylie, no woman has entered this race and ever won it, and I thought, I can do this. And I trained and trained and trained. I got to the top of that hill and I threw myself down and I went running after that cheese with all my heart, all my passion, and I won. And that's just how determined I am. That's what I wanted Kylie to say. What came out of Kylie's mouth to the question, why are you surprised, was, I don't even like cheese. Quite disappointing. So, Gloucester, I've lived here all my life, and I've seen some, remarkable changes. I think we're on the up. The cathedral's been used as a film set for Harry Potter and the docks. But of course, we can't match the Forest of Dean with Puzzlewood being used for Star Wars. Have you been to the Forest of Dean yet?
Yeah.
You've come back all right. What did you make of the foresters? Is there any foresters in tonight? Just raise your 8 fingers if there is. They're a bit strange, aren't they? But which part of Birmingham are you from?
Oldbury.
That's where Frank Skinner comes from, Oldbury, doesn't he? I think. Yeah. Well, if you imagine Oldbury, but like with zombies walking around, that's basically the forest. And we can't compete with the Forest of Dean and used for the Star Wars film. And the makers of Star Wars, I don't know if you know this, but they wanted to recreate that famous scene where the heroes walk into that strange bar and it's full of people with 2 heads and 10 arms and stuff, and I thought that's quite simple. All they've got to do is walk into any pub in Colford on a Saturday night and they'll be fine. And there was a report in the paper a few months ago about a man from Cinderford who'd been accused of having sex with a wild boar whilst under the influence of alcohol. And that got me thinking, just how much alcohol would a wild boar need to have sex with a man from Cinderford? Right, so that's all the local stuff done out of the way, unless anybody's got any topics they want to bring up. No. Are you okay? You're all right?
Yeah.
You don't feel threatened by the Gloucester people?
Not yet.
Which part? Not yet. Which part of Gloucester are you living in?
Abbey.
Oh yeah. You'll be fine there.
Yeah.
A little bit too close to Coney Hill, but you won't be. You'll be fine.
I know you're great to me. I'll run towards Hucklecote.
You'll run towards Hucklecote. It's not really any better there. Not in certain parts. So James said to me, as he says to all the acts, that this is a really family-friendly gig. So can you just have a look at your material and make sure there's nothing offensive? So I did that last night, and I'm doing 20 minutes tonight, but actually, that's it. Good night. No, I'm really pleased to be here because it's been a bit of a tough year. Didn't start off particularly well. We did the whole dry January thing. I was a little bit upset at the start of January with the news of Prince Philip having that accident and surviving, because I had 50 quid at 200 to 1 that he'd be dead by February. So that was out of the way, but we did the whole dry January, me and my wife. We still drank, just sex was off the menu apparently. It was alcohol related. Christmas Day I managed to do 4 or 5 bottles of red wine, fell asleep at the dinner table. It was 4 o'clock, she said I was a disgrace and embarrassment. To be fair, the other hotel guests found it hilarious. I've got to be honest, that joke normally gets a far better response. So I think you all need to take a good hard look at yourselves and get on board with it. And my wife's a bit of a fine one to talk, because just before sort of Christmas she said, you had remembered that you're picking me up from my work tomorrow, hadn't you? Which came as a bit of a surprise because she's self-employed and works from home. But I said, no, that's fine. I don't mind doing it. I'll pick you up. So I pulled up outside the Regal in King Square, and she got in the car, sat down, and I made that fatal mistake that blokes make. I just asked her if she'd had a good time. And what I got was, are you saying I'm drunk? No, I'm not saying you're drunk, but clearly you've had a few, aren't you? So I'm absolutely perfectly sober. All right, okay. 5 minutes went past, and I got, you don't love me, do you? Oh. Yes, I do love you. Here we go. You don't love me. So I don't think in all the 20 years we've been married, you've ever really loved me. I said, I do. She said, well, if you love me, she said, you need to prove it. I said, how am I going to do that? She said, right now, in this car, you're going to make love to me. I said, that's not going to happen, is it? She said, why not? I said, well, first of all, we're still sat outside Wetherspoons. Secondly, sorry, I can wait. Secondly, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And finally, your best friend Chris is in the back of the car. And it's fine for her to have a girlfriend, right? And I don't mind, I'm not jealous, I trust my wife implicitly. They've been off on holiday, they've been to Jersey, they've been to Crete. She's gone for weeks, 2 weeks away with her girlfriend, right? And what if 1 weekend away with my girlfriend? Jesus Christ. Absolutely played merry hell. So we have been married 20 years, and we sort of got to that funny, that funny stage, that irritating stage where it's just the little things, to be honest, more than anything. The breathing. And she's one of these women, because I'm not particularly tall, as you can see, and sometimes when I'm driving and I need to turn right and I can't see left, I'll ask her, is it safe to go? And she'll go, yep. And as I'm pulling out, if you're quick. Right now, you don't want to hear that, but she hasn't worked out that if it isn't safe to go, she's on the passenger seat, so she's going to get creamed first. But that's, that's fine. And we've been through the same routine every night for 20 years. She goes up to bed. I finish off watching Babe Station, and then come out, and she's in bed, and I get into bed, and you turn the TV off? Yeah. At the wall? Yes. Because she's one of these people who think that the TV is going to spontaneously combust in the middle of the night, despite not knowing anybody it's ever happened to. Yeah, turn the TV off at the wall. Have you locked the front door? Yes, I've locked the front door. At the bottom? Yes, at the bottom. At the top? No. Why not? You know why not. So I know why. I just like hearing you say it. I forget how small I am, right? I'm 5'2". Or as she puts it, do you realise you're 62 inches tall? Yeah, and she said, well, that's only a fraction taller than 5 plastic rulers if they were stood end to end. Which, yeah, that's harsh, isn't it? I think that's really harsh. And certain things happen to remind me about my height. We went to Alton Towers a few months back, and basically I was allowed on 2 rides, one of which being that big plastic swan on the lake, and the big teacup. And I was still waiting to go on one of the rides, and I heard this voice behind me. Oh, Jesus, look at him. He's tiny. I bet he's not gone up against that measuring stick. I don't think he should be going on this ride. And I learned a couple of things that weekend at Alton Towers. The first thing I learned was it's considered socially unacceptable to meet provocation. And it doesn't matter from what source with violence. And the second thing I learned was it's actually a criminal offence to punch a 13-year-old girl. But shit happens. And again, that joke normally goes down far better. You're all right. You're doing not too bad. Some of you are sort of with it, and some of you aren't. I mean, the fact that you laughed heartedly at being stuck outside Wetherspoons at 4 o'clock. And actually, now I'm thinking about it, that's what I remember you from.
The secret out.
You've let the secrets out. So with your boss here, you've admitted that you're a bit of a slapper on a Saturday hanging around outside Wetherspoons. That P45 is definitely on the way. You'll notice from time to time I keep glancing at my hand. One is to check the time, because I'm 60 and time it just means nothing to me now. The other thing is because I forget, so I've got my set written on my hand, so apologies for that. You'll have noticed, just looking around, I don't know. No, that's fake. I think, am I the only ginger person in the room? What are you putting the face for?
Ginger.
I wasn't talking to you, I was looking at her with the light bank. Yeah, don't look away, that's a photographer. Are you ginger?
Yeah.
Proper ginger?
I'm not ginger. Not this ginger, but I am ginger.
Not that ginger. So which bits are ginger? Do you want to come and show? No. You're alright with being ginger, aren't you? Yeah, and me. Is there any other ginger people in the room? Were you ginger at one time, young man, when you had hair? Never. You're not going to admit to it, are you? I love being ginger, but there is a bit of a stigma. There is a bit of a stigma attached to it, and I didn't realise that we're actually, as a fairly small minority, there's discrimination against ginger people, and even in the comedy world. Because a few weeks back, there was a post on Facebook for a gig in Bristol, and it said, "Acts wanted, LGBT, and people of POC can particularly apply." Now, I didn't know what POC meant. Does anybody know what it means? Person of colour. Yeah, see, I'm old, I wouldn't have a clue. So I thought, right, I'm going to apply for that. So I phoned them up and said, I'd like to apply for the gig. And they said, which one are you? I said, I'm a POC. And they said, what colour are you? I said, ginger. And it was, we don't want you. And it was, that was really harsh, straight away. Now again, that joke, normally, with a proper audience, they love that. They absolutely love that. But you know, we have Hug a Ginger Day, we have Kiss a Ginger Day. I'm going to start my own, which is going to take it to the next level. I've suggested this to my wife, and she said even I won't shag you. But I suffered, probably as a kid, more than anything, with the name calling, copper knob, ginger nut, Duracell, you little ginger wanker. And I can remember saying, Dad, you're not funny, just leave it. But it wasn't just my dad, even my mother, she used to join in. I can remember going home the first week back at school in January, after Christmas. Mum, can I have a little word? She said, yeah, what is it? I said, well, all the other kids have been talking about what presents they got on Christmas Day. She said, and? I said, well, I didn't get presents Christmas Day, did I? She said, no, you didn't. I said, well, why was that? And she looked at me straight in the eye and said, the thing is, Santa don't stop for ginger kids. Yeah, it's not true, that's just... But, to be fair, my two are 12 next year and I've managed to get away with not buying Christmas to date, so that's absolutely fine. You've noticed I'm not the slimmest of people. I haven't always been this size. At one point I was 8 stone 2 and now I'm like 14 stone. I'm like, it's just, I hate it. And I was sort of pushed into, I tried Slimming World, I don't mind sharing with you, I tried Slimming World, and it was a result of my wife. She had the girls round for their book club, which is basically, and I'm sure we're all aware, it's just an excuse for a bunch of women to get smashed off their tits on Prosecco and wine, and then the last 5 minutes of the night to actually talk about the book, and has anybody read it? No. But I was upstairs during one of these sessions, and I just heard her say to her friend, oh God, she said, we're going to Iceland in a few months' time. I hope he realises that in Iceland it's still legal to hunt whales. See again, that joke, normally, that's normally, I can count on that. I really can. So again, I'm counting, that's 5 times you let yourselves down and seen it. But it's fine. And she said, he's just like an egg on legs, and he repulses me. So I thought, I need to do something. So there's, just round the corner from where I live in Quedgley, there's a Slimming World, and the thing that attracted me most was, it was a 30-second walk away, to be honest. And I went in, and this lady came up, and she said, oh hi, my name's Chris, I'm your counsellor. Well, counsellor, I don't need counselling, I just need to know how to stop eating, really. And it was in a local primary school, and I was there with 2 other ladies of a certain stature. She said, well, what we'll do is, if you want to sit down, and then we'll just take some notes. Now, remember, it was a primary school, and I looked down, and there was these 3 little plastic chairs, and I thought, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't. All 3 of the chairs broke. One of the women just ran out crying. And there was basically, if you've not been to Slimming World, what it is predominantly women who were lined up waiting to be weighed by these stick insects at the end of a line with very smug looks on their faces. And I heard one of the women in the queue saying, oh, it's fairly obvious whilst he's here, which again I thought was a little bit harsh. But we sat down and said, right, I'm going to ask you some questions. Just random, I'll just throw this out. She said, out of anybody who, doesn't matter who it is, whose body do you most admire? And I don't know where it came from, but I just came out with it, Tom Daly. And I heard from the queue, oh, it's really nice to have a gay in the room, which I've just gone along with it, actually. It's been quite entertaining. So I'm not going to Slimming World anymore. I mentioned my age. I turned 60 last year, which, that was a real shock. It was a bit of a wake-up call, and I just don't know where the time's gone. And I was sort of coerced into having a party, so we had a big party. I thought, well, we'll just do a pig roast, that's pretty straightforward. So I sent out all the invites, and then I got the people emailing